noise, serving real talk, the genuine choice.
No pretense, no hidden schemes. Just sports, passion, fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound. Unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
Real takes over fake debates.
And we are live. Sbtalksports, Sean Webb, real takes over fake debates. It is Friday. Sean, what's the word, brother? How you doing today?
Doing good, SB. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to everyone out there listening. Thank you for taking some time to listen to Real Takes Over Fake Debates on, well, you know, we ain't got to tell all the platforms. We can let the lady tell all the platforms.
Yeah, let her know, man. Let her know. Let me talk. Yeah.
Real Takes Over Fake Debates has invaded the audio podcast world. Add Real Takes Over Fake Debates on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and iHeartMedia. Leave a 5-star review and comment below. New episodes every Monday and Friday.
New episodes every Monday and Friday, like the lady told you. Sean, we got a lot to talk about in today's sports world. I'm a little unhappy right now, a little uneasy. It's not nothing to do with my Chargers being out of playoffs. It's not even nothing to do with basketball. It got something to do with baseball at the moment too. But let's get into some football real quick. No. Let's do the baseball story first. Let's break the baseball news first. And forgive me if I butcher this name like I always do with all the names. You know I'm good for that. We're going to have to start having the Shaq Butcher name counter. But Roki Sasaki says he is signing with the Dodgers. This is a young Japanese superstar. He's adding to the Dodgers like they need any more help. Sean, I'm finna crash out, dog. As a Yankees fan, I'm finna crash out because how much help do this team need? Like, bro, like, how do y'all keep signing people? Where is this money coming from? How is y'all finding these people? Why every time I come on and baseball news pop up on my feed, they don't even talk about nothing. Oh, yeah, Dodgers got another superstar. They building the monsters over there, man. And then everybody look at me like it's cool. Do the Dodgers want to compete? I don't want to hear no more complaining about no LeBron James super team, Kevin Durant super team, football super team. People go out. The Dodgers has took this to a whole nother level of point of no return. I'm sick of the Dodgers. I'm honestly sick of the Dodgers. I'm tired of them, bro. They don't even want to compete no more, bro. They truly don't. Sean, you go ahead. I can't, bro. I truly can't with this team, bro. They cheating at this point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you just look at their roster, their starting their pitchers. Obviously, we talk about Shohei going to pitch this year, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Yamamoto, and now they add. I mean, good luck, literally against their 5-man starting rotation. Not to mention their lineup. When you just talk about the top of their lineup, they were also in on Juan Soto, at one point. What's the old expression? It ain't tricking if you got it.
It's cheating. It ain't tricking. They cheating. It ain't tricking. They cheating. Something ain't right. The math ain't mathing to me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So, I just think at the end of the day, listen, you can have all the talent in the world. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. But certainly, I mean, they just won a World Series. And, to continue to add the pieces and the talent that they've added, it's just too much. I'm I'm done. I'm just done.
I'm going to tell you this kind of for scale, right? We can agree that the Dodgers is the best team in football, right? I mean, baseball, right? The Dodgers is the best team in baseball.
Yes.
What's the little if they're a 10, what is the gap from them and the next best team? Let's realistically speaking, because I can say they are 10, the next best team probably a 7, in my opinion, compared
Maybe
to their roster.
Yeah, maybe 7.5. Maybe, yeah.
Jeez, bro. Oh my God, bro. I'm tired. Look, if you're a Dodgers fan, I don't like you. I don't like anything you stand for. I don't like none of you represent. I don't. So also, we got another breaking news story before we get into the action. Break it again. Titans have hired Kansas City Chiefs assistant general manager Mike Borgazzi. I think I said that right. As their new general manager. How are you looking at this hire? Is it a W?
Remains to be seen. Obviously, that last general manager, Rand Carthon, only got 2 years. Will he get more than 2 years is the question. I don't think you can judge a GM after 2 years, particularly because that first year he's really taking over a roster and a team that he had probably nothing to little to do to build. So it generally takes some time before you see some level of progress. But obviously, getting someone from the Kansas City tree, and when you look at just how Kansas City has built their teams, the last 7-8 years, certainly makes a lot of sense. Obviously, he's going to have the privilege of making the first pick in this year's draft, and going to be curious to see where they decide to go with that. Obviously, I think we pretty much all believe they're going to draft a quarterback, but certainly, certainly coming from the Chiefs, and when you look at the success of the Chiefs, it makes sense to pull from that success. But that said, regardless of whatever the Titans do, and again, this goes really to their ownership, you got to be patient, right? You can't change coach 1 year, then change GM the next year, then change the coach the next year, then change the GM the next year. You got to be patient and make sure that you tie Borgonzi and Brian Callahan together for the long term to give your organization some stability with presumably that number 1 pick that you'll be taking at quarterback this year. So that's what it's going to all come down to, but certainly a good hire from where he's coming from, but how he does remains to be seen.
Yeah, because also you do have to be careful with just because somebody come from an organization that's highly successful don't necessarily mean they can come to your organization to be successful. And let's call a spade a spade. The Kansas City Chiefs struck gold by getting Patrick Mahomes. That was the difference maker. Then that opened up the floodgate for everything else. Because let's just not act like they would just mastermind and chess pieces and moves, and then they were just like, man, voila, this roster just so much just came together. No, they had Patrick Mahomes. Now I look at like a guy like the GM of like the Lions, where if you go back and look at like what pieces they turned to, like if anybody want to see a master class of GM work, go back and look at when the Detroit Lions did the Matthew Stafford trade and go down the list of what they did to rebuild that roster and what players they got with all them picks that they have got during that time. That is a master class GM work. People didn't believe in certain moves that the Lions did and ended up working. Because I remember people, Lions fans too, everybody booed and criticized the Lions for taking Jahmyr Gibbs. Now they are saying that was one of the best decisions they could have ever made. But now with this guy going over with the Titans, like I love that you brought up the fact that, hey, you have to give him time. 2 years is not enough time. We gonna definitely talk about it on Monday. We had a video about the Rooney Rule that went up. A lot of people had comments about it. But that perfect example with Gerard Mayo, you got to give somebody time. Rome was not built overnight. And another, not to even glaze the Lions, I feel like I'm glazing the Lions, but another masterclass work that the Lions did too was let Dan Campbell get time to actually develop and build a culture with the roster. Rome was not built in a day. It takes time. So you got to give Mike his time. And hopefully he put the 2 and 2 together, and hopefully he can strike lightning in a bottle with a quarterback. Because I believe that's why you said he might go quarterback because he comes from the Kansas City fold. I still think you should go Travis Hunter maybe at that point, but we can see what else going on because I think it's 250-50 on Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders with that team. So that's why I was like, maybe you just go with the best available talent, and then maybe you can add another quarterback later or wait till next year's quarterback class and try to get Will Levis one more time, even though I know he's Mr. Mayo has been terrible, but I don't know, Sean.
Yeah, I think that experiment is done.
Is it because he put the mayo in the tea, man, or the coffee? Is it?
No, it's just he sucks. So yeah, that's simple as that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayo. I just so do they got a coach already, right?
Yeah, Brian Callahan.
Do you think it's bad that they hired a new GM instead of just like without like with the him picking the coach? Do you think that's a recipe for disaster already?
Well, yeah, and again, that goes back to again, when you make these decisions, SB as an organization, a lot of times you want to tie the head coach to the GM and vice versa. They have changed in the last 3 years. They've changed head coaches. They've also changed GMs. This is their third GM in the last 3 years.
That's bad.
So that's not good. And again, this goes back to Amy Adams Strunk, who's the general partner for the Titans, who runs the team. Make a decision, tie them together, and see where it goes. That's the problem. There's been too much upheaval in those positions, and that's why you're not going to have any success. Whether they should have gotten rid of Mike Vrabel, is still questionable because obviously Mike Vrabel got another job within a year, but there was some disconnect about the AJ Brown situation with John Robinson, and then they hired Rand Carthon, and Mike Vrabel apparently didn't see eye to eye, so they chose to fire Mike Vrabel, and then they fired Rand Carthon. So it's just way too much upheaval. Find a position with your head coach, your front office, who's running your front office, running your organization, and tie them together. Quit all the upheaval. That does not help you sustain some level of building, but also foundation, but also what are you trying to build? And that's where the Titans are right now, from my perspective.
And if to your point, to double down on that, to build, I feel like unless you got like a franchise changing guy where you're like, hey, or franchise talent right there, I always think the GM, coach, and quarterback should always be tied together. And if you get those three things right, you can start your foundation of what you're trying to build can possibly be sturdy and be great. Because if you got a great GM and the coach is connected with the quarterback, now the quarterback gonna go for the play style and get the play style that can best fit your quarterback. Then the GM, the coach is gonna tell the GM, hey, look, this type of players I need, this type of system that we running, they all connected, and this gonna be beneficial for the quarterback, coach, and GM. Because now the GM gonna get the players that he need, the coach is gonna put the quarterback in position to win, and the quarterback gonna put the play on the field to make everything happen because he got the pieces and the organizational structure to do what he needs to do. But now, salute Go James Kingdom in the building. We definitely got to talk. We talk about your boy today too. I see you doing the TikTok episode today. I'm about to come over there and watch and see what you're talking about the TikTok today. Go shout out Go James Kingdom. Go like and subscribe, and then he be live on FIF and on Go James Kingdom. Go check out. They got great content over there. Bando Taz say don't want Jimmy to return. Well, let's go ahead and get into the story about Mr. Jimmy Butler. But first, we got to acknowledge the fact, though, Sean. Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler will make his return tonight against the Denver Nuggets after serving a 7-game suspension, and he is expected to be in the starting lineup. Sources tell NBA analyst Chris Haynes. What is your reaction to Jimmy? Obviously, you're the consistent Heat fan of the show. We got a lot of things to deep dive into this, but let's start at ground one. What's your reaction to Jimmy Butler being back, and what do you expect from Jimmy Butler being back?
I expect Jimmy Butler to come back and first be a professional, and until he gets what he ultimately wants, be a professional.
I doubt it.
I think the Heat organization has essentially sent a message by suspending him 7 games, which we talked about 2 weeks ago, that the time to not show up and to not be professional is done. So I expect Jimmy Butler to be a professional. Now, I think him coming back and him playing like Jimmy Butler helps both sides. Because if Jimmy Butler wants to be traded, and if Jimmy Butler has made it clear he wants to be traded, if he's playing up to the Jimmy Butler standard that we're accustomed to, I think is going to make teams potentially a little more interested in talking to Miami about trades, offering Miami something that Miami would want, because that's the other part of it, is that obviously, you know, a team can say, hey, we want to trade for so-and-so, but we're only giving you a bag of potato chips and a cigarette. That's not going to work. So this benefits both sides. February 6th is not too far away.
It's right around the corner.
It's right around the corner. That's the trade deadline. The question is, if Jimmy Butler plays like Jimmy Butler, we know Jimmy Butler to play, will the Heat be able to move him before February 6th? Only time will tell. Yeah. And let me also say this really quickly, and I've heard a lot of people say this, some of the talking heads, Stephen Laude and some of the others. There is not a single basketball player who will not take $300 million to play basketball in Miami, Florida.
Yeah, you crazy. I'm first train smoking to Miami.
There's
let's say Zion. He overweight a little bit. He gonna last.
Yeah, but again, if you say, hey, we're gonna give you $300 million to come down here and play in Miami, where I sign up.
Yeah.
So cut this. Oh, Miami's messed this up, and no. These guys, these folks understand how things work down there. Everybody knows who's running things down there, but it's still Miami. It's still Miami, and it's still a lot of money to play basketball in Miami. Even if you have to do things a little differently than you may be used to, that's the way it works. Now, I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm saying cut the crap of, oh, nobody's going to want to go there because of how the Heat are handling this situation. Stop that right now. Stop that right now.
So, but I ain't gonna lie, but people could still go to Miami in the offseason. But like you said, you offer somebody $300 million and to play in Miami, it is different. But Sean, to play devil's advocate, I don't think a lot of people can last in Miami to play in Miami because the Pat Riley way, everybody ain't built for it.
No,
so
everybody's not built.
I wouldn't set myself up for a trap going down there if I'm not built for the Pat Riley way.
Well, yeah, but I think the thing is, right, is that it's not what you're built for so much as what are you willing to do to get on board, right? I don't want to get too deep into this, SB, but I do think there's times where guys go down there and think they're going down there for a vacation, and it's not. And also, when people talk about Heat culture, and you and I have talked about this before, Heat culture is very simply the Pat Riley way. This existed when he was in LA. This existed when he was in New York. And it's only the reason why they call it Heat culture is because it hasn't existed longer anywhere than Miami, because it's been in Miami for 30 years. Yeah. So that's why they call it Heat culture. But this is how Pat Riley, this is all he knows. This goes back to his playing days when he was playing for the Lakers and the Rockets back in the day. This is all they know. This is what they do. So, you know, Jimmy Butler, while again, I think a lot of people when he initially came there, SB, felt like this was a great match, and it was. Eventually, it was going to wear thin because of Jimmy Butler. This is who Jimmy Butler is. And if y'all haven't read it on ESPN, there's a very interesting article kind of breaking down some things that have happened over the last couple of years. A lot of stuff came up, but one thing that was very interesting was that during the 2023 finals, when Miami's playing Denver, when they were in Denver, team is staying at a hotel. Jimmy was staying at a mansion like 30 miles away.
Oh.
So
do he live out there, or he just rented a mansion out?
He just rented a mansion.
Wow.
And those were things that, again, it's not, so to be very clear, it's not uncommon for a superstar or a star player to stay separate from the team for security reasons. It's not uncommon, right? So let me be very clear. But that was considered way outside of the norm. But they allowed him to do it. Jimmy has flown private to certain games away from the team. So it's not like this has been someone who's been totally locked in. And again, there's been different reasons for that, stuff like that. But put all that stuff aside, SB, not to, again, to put a bow on this point. Tonight is about what are you going to do between now and February 6th? because, again, trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get traded by the trade deadline, are you going to be professional for the remainder of the season? So come the off season, we can figure out, okay, what do we do to get you where you want to go? How do we work through this? Because he's made it very clear he does not want to play there.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still contractually obligated wherever you're signed to play basketball. And unless you're saying, hey, you don't have to pay me and I'll stay away, most teams aren't trying to hear that. So show up, be a professional, come play like you're expected to play, like you normally play, and then let's see what happens between now and February 6th.
See, for me, I'm a little bit. It's crazy that the stuff come out now when you want to get rid of somebody. That's something I hate when they come to these stories. What I expect for Jimmy is, I believe something that's going to come back up again because how Jimmy's attitude is. He's not going to just stay straightforward mindset because Jimmy Butler is irritated. And when Jimmy Butler's irritated, he let it be known. He wears emotions on his sleeve. Trust me, I know very well I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. We part of the reason Jimmy Butler is this way, but we kind of created this monster. If you don't believe me, go back to the stories of Jimmy Butler talking about his time in Chicago and why he ended up being the way he is. So blame us, the Bulls. We created this monster. But only on Jimmy's side, because like the Pat Riley way, like you said, it's been set in stone with Miami and how they do things down there. And I also believe, before I say this, I believe it is a good thing that Pat Riley does have a Pat Riley way in Miami because there's a lot of distractions. Like you said, it's South Beach, it's parties, warm weather women. So actually having that type of way to keep people focused in Miami, I won't deny that. I think that's a good thing. But also the problem with the Pat Riley way is, too, how he does handle these situations, because we see this way, one with D-Wade, and then sometimes with Pat Riley feel the way he's so stern in his way, he willing to let drama unfold out in the media and out publicly with the team just because not handling the situation. I think Pat Riley has to, for future-wise, because now I can see the writing on the wall happening like with Bam, maybe after this next contract up, when he feel like he's maybe done with a star, or Pat Riley feel, hey, you don't deserve a contract because, hey, you might not play these games or you weren't playing up to par. I think Pat Riley needs to find a better way to keep it in-house when stuff boil over like this because, like I said, Pat Riley's stern. And once he feel his way, he feel his way and he don't care. But then the next thing also, Sean, we got to acknowledge the fact that the moves Pat Riley has made, because when Jimmy Butler led this team to the finals twice, with a roster that shouldn't have made it to the finals twice, what has Pat Riley done to capitalize or add to this team even more to get these guys over the hump or get Jimmy Butler help? So just as much as you want to acknowledge the fact that Jimmy Butler, hey, Jimmy, you missed these games or you ain't playing the par, I could go at the table like Jimmy Butler and say, hey, I led these teams to 2 finals. Who did you add to the roster to keep us competing for a championship? You haven't added anybody, Pat Riley. So I just think sometimes Pat Riley be so stubborn, let the Pat Riley way blind him sometimes because he don't even look at his wrongdoing also.
So let me just add context to that. It's not that you don't add anybody, where there are attempts. We know Miami tried to trade for Dame. We know what happened there. Portland didn't even call back. Wouldn't even communicate with Miami. They were not going to give Dame what he wanted, which was to end up in Miami. Kyle Lowry, who we call Fat Thor, signed Fat Thor to a sign and trade, gave up Goran Dragic because, again, this was something that the organization wanted, but Jimmy Butler was very much behind it. It was a bust of a move, an absolute bust of a move. Everybody knows it was a bust of a move. It was a horrible, horrible move. It did not work out the way it was expected. You can go out and try to add talent all day. It takes 2. If you're calling teams or you're talking to teams, and again, there was some conversation about Bradley Beal. The issue with Bradley Beal was, part of the issue was obviously he got a massive contract, but also he has a no trade clause. So if you trade for him and he wants to keep his no trade clause, you can't trade him later on unless he waives his no trade clause, which is where Phoenix is right now. So it's not like this team has not tried to make moves to improve the roster. It takes 2. It can't just be 1. Also, and again, this is where we talk about this, SB. The new CBA matters. Yes. You make certain moves, your roster is pretty much locked. You can't do a lot. So that's part of it. So some of it is, the idea is finding the balance of wanting to put out a competitive roster, but also wanting to make sure that you're keeping some level of flexibility when you're building your roster because of the new CBA. And that's where I think things have come to a head.
Yeah, but how can Pat Riley ever get to that point of building a roster with new CBA? Because then now it's like you got to go get young talent. And then Miami don't tank. You're always going to be competitive in the playoffs. So that means you're always going to be in that mid-range for a pick. And it's rare to straight gold on that. So what do Miami do at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of it is, again, focusing on not where you're picking, but who you're picking, and can this player be developed into a really good player? Okay, Jaime Jaquez was the first pick last year or 2 years ago, 2023. Turned out to be a first-team all-rookie, right? Yeah. He wasn't a lottery pick, right? So you talk about that. You know, most of the picks that Miami have are either late lottery picks. So Bam was a late lottery pick. Tyler Hero was a late lottery pick. But a lot of these guys that you're bringing in are not necessarily – you're not bringing in the first, second, and third pick. Miami's never had the first pick in the draft. So a lot of it is where you're picking and can you build a roster based on those picks with development and using your system to develop to put out a competitive team. Yeah. It's not 2K. And I think that's where I think people really it's not 2K. It's really not. It takes a lot of work to make a lot of these deals happen, but it takes two. And it takes both sides coming to the table in good faith and saying, hey, we want to put together a deal that works for both of us so we can both get something we want out of this deal.
Yeah. But also some of the – wait, one last thing I did say, though. I want to have your opinion. Do you think Pat Riley, for future references, will have to find a better way to handle these situations with superstars? Because there's just two. There's D Wade, which one everybody point out bad. That's like D Wade, because that's Wade County in a way. I still to this day, even though it was cool to see D Wade come to Chicago, I still feel this is the way D Wade should never play for no other team. But also now with Jimmy Butler. So do you think it's going to be like – because now, you know, your next guy, you got Bam. How it's going, I see this is going to happen to Bam. And then how Bam should look like, hey, maybe this is going to happen to me next. So maybe I should go on here, get out the way.
So I will say the D-Wade thing is very interesting because in 2014, a lot of it was waiting for LeBron to make his decision about whether or not he was coming back to Miami. I think we all know what LeBron ultimately decided, though we don't have to revisit that. But part of what happened in that time frame was cap space was being eating up because you're agreeing to smaller deals with different free agents. So, for example, one of the deals they agreed to was with Josh McRoberts, who was in Charlotte at the time. That ate up some of the cap space that was available. There was another deal. I want to say it was Danny Granger, if I'm not mistaken. That ate up some of the cap space. So they had to re-sign Bosh. And because Houston had made Bosh an offer, Miami basically had to match the offer and add. And obviously Miami had the option of having the 5th year on the deal, which they did. The mistake was waiting for LeBron. They didn't take care of D-Wade in 2014. So there was a lot of residual things between 2014 and 2016 when he ultimately left that happened that I think is why things got to where they got. In 2016, they were asking D-Wade to wait because they were trying to keep cap flexibility so they could talk to the Kevin Durant's and some other free agents. And Wade at that point was basically like, all right, enough's enough. And that's why it happened. Yeah. So there was some, I'll say, fault on both sides. Not gonna absolve the Heat and either side for it. But ultimately, in Miami, we know who's going to win and who's going to get their way. So if you're a player down there and you want to play there, you understand you got to kind of fall in line. It's not, they're not going to change things completely in the organization for you. I think based on what you just said, SB, part of what they've done the last couple of years for Jimmy Butler was try to do some of those things because of the LeBron situation and because of the D-Wade situation, not wanting to alienate their superstar. But at a certain point, you got to say, okay, enough's enough, particularly if you're not coming to work, which Jimmy Butler did 22% of his games in Miami in the regular season. So that factors in, that matters. It's like, okay, why are we doing this when you don't even come to work? So I think that's part of the thinking there, and it's like, okay, no, we got to get back to the iron fist and the way we operate. Which again, if you played there, Zoe, Wade, UD, anybody knows it's just certain things that just don't cut the mustard down there, and that's why I think you're seeing things where they've gotten to, because now they got to get back to how they handle business.
Now, Sean, the reason I brought it up, everything about the organization, because obviously Jimmy Butler returning, always gonna have some controversy with Jimmy. It is rumored from a report I've seen. You can tell from the report you've seen. A report I've seen said it's members of the Heat that do not want Jimmy Butler to return after suspension. And
Right.
when they said members of the Heat, from what I heard, it was from people up in the staff, players. I don't remember if it says coaches, and I don't know if it was coaches, but it's from what they were saying, multiple people didn't want Jimmy Butler to come back after the suspension.
Right.
Hearing that, how does that make you feel as like a Heat fan, and then cause a concern? Because I got a theory on at least the player one, at least, but I want to hear you first on this.
Not surprised. At a certain point, you have to make a decision whether or not somebody's talent is worth the distraction. And to some people at this point, the talent is not worth the distraction. So I'm not surprised at all.
Okay. For me, Sean, when I heard, because I can understand your point about is the talent worth the distraction, because sometimes people don't realize. Sometimes it's addition by subtraction when you deal with certain situations and certain players, certain teams. The Clippers are obviously going through that right now. Shout out Playoff P. But I have a theory, Sean, and I was trying to like calculate and do my research to figure it out, pinpoint exactly. If you guys watching, let me know. Comment in the comment section or comment down below what player you think it is. But I believe the member of the Heat staff or players who don't want Jimmy's return is whoever benefited from Jimmy Butler being out with the minutes right now. It's one of them forwards. It's one of them forwards in that lineup who probably getting a little more burns since Jimmy out, or somebody getting a little more shots. I don't know who it is on this Heat roster. It could be, but I'm trying to tell you, Sean. My theory is that the person who is saying they don't want Jimmy return is somebody who getting more minutes at this point in time. I don't know which one of these guys it is. I don't know, Sean. But what do you think about that theory?
I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, obviously, SB, when you talk about, again, someone who's, benefiting from someone not being there, certainly matters and certainly helps. I have to believe, I'm going to say this, SB. You know who Robert Downey Jr. is, of course, right?
Yeah.
Right. RDJ was always a talented actor, but there was a certain point, because of some of the stuff outside of the work with RDJ, that filmmakers and producers and studios did not want to be in the RDJ business. Excuse me. Thank you. It was until RDJ, was able to clean up, his personal life and get control of some of those things and all of those things and also, playing Iron Man, that took RDJ to another level. At a certain point, you just have to make a decision. Is the talent worth the distraction? And this happens all the time with some guys. At certain points, you say, yeah, the talent is definitely worth the distraction. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, you say, no, it's really not worth it at this juncture. We're going to move forward. We move on. It happens all the time in sports and entertainment. It happens even in the regular work. You can work with someone who's incredibly talented, but if they bring a lot of distraction and it's a lot of craziness that comes with it, at a certain point, you just make the decision that, hey, it's just not worth having around, regardless of how talented the person may be.
So, Sean, once again, my theory is that whoever is the player that's happy that don't want Jimmy to return and happy got suspended is some player who benefited from. Tiffany said it was Tyler Hero. Possibly, because Tyler Hero shots and tips could be up. It could be Hayward Highsmith. It could be Vacaz Jr. I'm looking at these four. It could be Alec Burks minutes go up. I just want to know. So let me know what y'all think. Who is the player possibly? In the front office, ain't no telling. People hide behind that front office name. It could be anybody in the front office. People going to hide behind that office name. But that player name, I guarantee you, it's somebody in that rotation. Sean, we got to talk about one more. We got a couple more things in here. I want to talk about something real quick. Joel Embiid is out again. Let me say this. Joel Embiid is out again with knee soreness, and he's gonna be out for 7 to 10 days. I'm ready to call it, Sean. I'm ready to pull the plug. The 76ers right now are at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, 15 and 24. They had signed a playoff P. They ain't been working out too bad. We're working out too good. Is the process over?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I'm going to say that with an asterisk. The asterisk is if Embiid is not able to come back, right, because they do, and play at the level that again we're accustomed to Joel Embiid playing, the Sixers are going to have to make a decision. And the reason I have to make a decision is because their first round pick this season belongs to OKC. However, it's top 6 protected. So if you're the Sixers, does it benefit you even bringing Joel Embiid back when you're nowhere near where you thought you were going to be coming into the season? So the process is over, but the asterisk is the way to save it, so to speak, is to make sure you keep that first round pick this year and put yourself in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes.
Hey, Chicago Bulls, did you hear what Sean said? The Cooper Flag sweepstakes. Get the tanking. But, Sean, the 76ers process with Joel Embiid is 1,000% over. It's done. Honestly, truly, the day the process died was when Kawhi Leonard hit that corner shot. The process has been on a downhill spiral, and the process has been, did I know everybody? Joel Embiid got an MVP, though. That day, when they was truly competing for a championship, the process is that they just been a fugazi team that you thought was competitive, but they wasn't really competitive only because of the Joel Embiid's health.
Yes, and also Daryl Morey choosing Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler.
Oh yes.
Well.
Oh yeah, and definitely that was the first strike. That was the first strike one, and then two, Sean. 76ers need to take advantage of something that a lot of teams don't have. When you have a declining superstar and you clearly see that, hey, we cannot go nowhere. We reach our peak. A lot of teams don't have their next superstar on their roster. You have Tyrese Maxey. You have McCain. I think I said McCain right, the TikToker. Yeah. He is nice. A lot of people don't like because he's TikTok. He's nice.
But out for the season, but he is nice.
He's nice. He's out for the season. Take what you can get right now. And like you said, you can go get in that Cooper Flag sweepstakes, get rid of Joel Embiid, get some pieces, get rid of Paul George. I know it might be kind of hard because you just signed him, but you go get him, get some young pieces, and build around Tyrese Maxey.
Right.
A lot of teams, I have seen teams who had declining stars and didn't have the other star replacement. You have your replacement star. Now, can Tyrese Maxey be as big as Joel Embiid was? Probably not. But at the end of the day, you have a guy where you can build a foundation. You got a guy where he can go put butts in the seats, and then you have a double head dragon combination at the guard position. Because when they did play together, when Paul George was out, Joel Embiid was out, they looked electric. And you can rebuild that. You can rebuild that front court. You can go get another forward, or you go get another versatile big to put back there. It's a lot out there for a lot cheaper. Get rid of Joel Embiid. Why you can get something for him. Sean, we have to talk about this, right? LeBron James is in the media once again. Obviously, not besides talking about how he beat up on Jordan when he was 15 years old.
And Jordan was 40.
And Jordan was 40, but we're not going to talk about the fact they was on the same team. But that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so LeBron been in the news lately. Now LeBron is back in the news again. They said LeBron Go ahead and title this. I'm saying this what the title said. I literally took the title off the article exactly. LeBron manager leading possible upstart to rival NBA. And see, this is what I hate, Sean, right? People always talk about like us as podcasters, YouTubers, how we use the clickbait titles to reel people in. It's part of the game, baby. Because y'all do the same thing with articles because you knew by wording it this way, you'll get more clicks. Because you could have just said Maverick Carter, which it is Maverick Carter, and then you want to add rival. So the key words in here, children in class right here, is LeBron, because people don't even pay attention to the. If I could put, I wish y'all could see my finger on top of this S and it's apostrophe. It's LeBron and rival NBA. What got everybody? So everybody like, what? LeBron trying to make another league? No, it's not that. So LeBron is trying. Maverick Carter is trying to make an international basketball league. It cannot rival the NBA. One, it's not even on U.S. soil. Two, I guarantee you, it won't be even ran at the same time during the NBA. The problem is who will probably be hurt from this more than anything if they try to get it on television more on the U.S. or streaming to the U.S. crowd is probably the WNBA because that's when it's probably going to be presented. And then also, why y'all using LeBron? I know LeBron and hot in the media right now, and it's LeBron James, but don't try to put LeBron in the middle of that. It's not going to rival the NBA, and LeBron has 0% ties to this. This is all Maverick Carter doing. That's it. Maverick Carter trying to make an international league. And this crazy part about it is, Sean, too, before I hear your point, the NBA is already in the process of trying to do an international league because they want to do an international league. So I guarantee you, in the long term, and once everything start unfolding, Maverick Carter probably gonna work with the NBA to get it going. But what's your reaction to this? Because people are hilarious for this though too. Y'all not slick. Y'all not slick.
Yeah. So ask me a couple things real quick. So what he's doing, what Maverick Carter is doing, is basically acting as an advisor by a group of investors who are trying to raise $5 billion to form an international basketball league. Mm-hmm. Whether or not it'll serve as rival to the NBA, let's just calm down that type of rhetoric, first of all. Mm-hmm. Right? They're raising $5 billion. The average value of an NBA franchise is $4.6 billion. So mm-hmm. a league that starts off with a $5 billion valuation is not going to rival the NBA. No. To start, let's get that out of the way right now. LeBron, by all sources, has no involvement with this. LeBron has also made it very, very clear that his desire is to have the team in Vegas when the league expands. So it makes no sense for him to be involved with this because that doesn't seem to align with what he said he ultimately wants to do. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when a lot of these leagues are formed, or a lot of these leagues are put together, the hope is you make the investment, it does well, somebody comes in and says, hey, we think this is great. We want to buy this league or we want to absorb this league. Would FIBA do that? Would this NBA FIBA partnership that they're talking about do that? That remains to be seen. So you can understand why they want to do this from a business perspective. The only issue I have with it is rival NBA. It will not rival NBA, right? We got the UFL that starts in the spring. Does it rival the NFL? God, no, it does not. So let's not even talk about rival NBA. Rival is the problem. It's not a rivalry.
It's not a. Yeah, that rival was strong in that sense. Also, I got a quick question though for you. Just a theory in mind, I think. So obviously, you just brought up that LeBron James wants the team in Vegas, right? It is probably gonna be like LeBron 40 right now. We probably got another 5 more years, maybe. Mm-hmm. So, do you think it's the possibility, right, that they try to pull this off just to raise the value? You know what I'm finna ask. LeBron James is the owner of the team at 45. They say, hey, look, LeBron, we need to raise this stock. Or do you think they make LeBron come back and play 1 year at the age of 45 just to raise the stock of the Vegas team?
No. He can't. By a rule, he can't. If he's the owner, he can't do that. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say
he would have to divest his ownership stake. in the team to do that.
Your owner, as for the owner of the team, LeBron James. He come out with the Vegas. He just rip his own suit off.
all these NBA owners out here who think they can hoop, you think they wouldn't be suiting up if they couldn't?
Oh no, that's the clockwork.
Yeah, exactly. So
I wish Mark Cuban would come on the court ever, and for a Dallas Maverick, he gonna be getting worked.
Matt Ishbia, the Suns need help, but come on, he's not gonna suit up for the Suns.
If Reinsdorf was ever to get his old behind on the court, I hope somebody cross him out his shoes. This for every time you didn't every time you didn't make a trade. Yeah, he got on the AI quick. But okay, we obviously big NFL weekend. We got to get into our NFL playoff picks, and it's the divisional playoff round. We're gonna go off every round. We got to go in order from the TV schedule. Sean, we got first on the list. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Houston Texans. But one thing I want to bring up first is Texas running back Joe Mixon is questionable for the divisional round with the ankle injury. The Kansas City Chiefs magic just don't stop. All of a sudden, he just get injured at practice. At first, but why y'all practicing that hard? And y'all in the playoffs, y'all should be resting. Y'all know y'all playbook by now. Ain't no more practice y'all need to be doing. I think it should be literally light pads, no contact practicing in the playoffs, because at the end of the day, why are you practicing? What are you practicing? Because now I'm like, if it's a non-contact injury, that scares me. But do you think Joe gonna play or not?
I do think Joe Mixon will play. They said questionable, which for me tells me I think he's more likely to play than not. If he were doubtful, I think that would be a little more concerning. But the fact that he's questionable, I think says he's probably going to play.
Okay. I told this Kansas City magic is going to keep happening. But let's go ahead and get into this series. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Houston Texans. That's the first game on the list. I was watching. It was on YouTube. I don't ever watch them on TV. I don't know if it was like Get Up or NFL Today, whatever. It was like one of them NFL shows. Believe it was on ESPN. I did not know that Patrick Mahomes is undefeated in divisional playoff rounds.
Yes.
And he hasn't thrown an interception in an individual playoff round.
Yes.
This dude, man, I'm already accepting the fact, Sean, knock on wood, God forbid injuries, anything like that. This dude going to end his career as the greatest quarterback of all time, because he actually got the one thing that like Tom Brady is missing, is that superstar talent with the winning and breaking all the records. But when you look at this game right now, what do you expect?
So again, these teams played a few weeks ago, and I expect it to be a very tough game in terms of physical. This game will come down to a couple of matchups for me. First, Kansas City's tackles, particularly right tackle.
Yes.
And can they block? Can Jawan Taylor handle Will Anderson or Daniil Hunter, depending on who's on that side, one-on-one without any help? That pass rush from Houston is real.
Very real.
Very real. So I think that's going to be a key matchup. Also, from Kansas City's defensive perspective, obviously, Houston's weakness is in the middle of their line, their offensive line. Chris Jones is probably going to have a lot to say about this game. Mm-hmm. Even with a healthy or not so healthy Joe Mixon, he's going to have a lot to say about this game. I think this game will come down to the Texans.
Tiffany's so crazy.
The Texans, for the Texans to have a chance to win this game, they have to jump out early.
Yes.
I think they have to jump out early. I don't think they can get in a hole, with Kansas City at home. No. And also, the matchup I'm really looking for is, Trent McDuffie. Will he follow? Will he travel with Nico Collins? Because, Trent McDuffie's their all-pro corner. Let's see, what happens with that. But two things I don't do. I don't bet against Jordan in the fourth quarter, and I don't bet against Andy Reid after a bye week. And the Chiefs have essentially been off for 3 weeks, but the Chiefs practice very hard. They've had some time to get ready for this game. I'm taking the Chiefs at home by 7. I think their average margin of victory this season was 7.1. Everybody said they played a lot of close games. I think this will be a close game, but not because the Chiefs won't be physically dominant. I think it'll just be a close game because these two teams did just see each other and they do understand how each other wants to play.
I love how that you attacked the inside debate of this, because that is definitely a key part, especially with the Kansas City tackles in the inside. Because now, if you see how the Texas defense did my Chargers, they're gonna try to get to you and they're gonna try to attack those tackles. But also with Chris Jones being in the middle, he's gonna go through the middle. But the part that I want to see happen, and that's gonna be a key thing that I'm paying attention to, is Travis Kelce. Will he be able to get off? And the reason why I say Travis Kelce, because yes, I know they got D-Hop. Yes, I know I got Xavier Worthy. But the secondary for the Texans is deadly. They got Stingley and they got their under young boy who's gonna be a star in this league. They got their double head dragon right there too with the DBs. Now I did complain about 2 of those interceptions that Justin Herbert threw. Should have been questionable, especially one of them on that out route. Dude should have just caught that pass. But at the end of the day, you cannot deny the fact that Texas defense got 4 interceptions and won that game on their own. The Texas defense won the game on their own. So if the Kansas City Chiefs wants to win this game, look for the Kansas City Chiefs side. Travis Kelce has to be involved and has to dominate. I can see D-Hop getting a couple catches, maybe Xavier Worthy getting a play or two, but I'm telling you, the Texas DBs and their defense gonna make it very hard for them. So for the Kansas City Chiefs, for me to win, is I need Kelce to go off, and I need to dominate the run game in a time possession for the Chiefs and protect Mahomes. Don't put Mahomes in a situation where he, like he said, he's dire. If the game is close, Kansas City gonna by far win. I think everybody laugh and joke about them not blowing nobody out. That probably was the best thing that happened to this team, because now what you already prepared for, playoff games. Playoff games are already close. The Chiefs had a close game every year. Almost came down to 1 or 2 drafts. Now for the Texas side of things, I think obviously with Joe Mixon being out, that definitely hurts you. You have to get out early, Sean. I definitely agree with you on that. You have to get out early and score. You cannot have a close game with them. You got to try to beat the Chiefs early. If you give Mahomes a light, a chance, a slimmer of hope, you will lose. You will lose. But I'm taking the Chiefs. I think with that dynamic of Mahomes, Andy Reid off a bye week, and with the Texans missing a couple wide receivers, and with Travis Kelce and Pachinko and Chris Jones attacking that middle where they weak at with their line, I'm taking Kansas City Chiefs also too. Next on the list, Sean. Tiff, you stupid. She said that the refs would be against the Texans, probably. So that magic covered, Tiffany. This is gonna be a very exciting game, Sean. I'm not gonna deny it. This game gonna be very exciting. We got the Detroit Lions versus the Washington Commanders. Who you got and why? Commanders hot right now.
Commanders are playing with house money, obviously. I think there are a couple things that, if I'm Detroit, I think I would have spent a lot of time preparing for this week. One, I expect the Commanders to be in a lot of 4 and 5 receiver sets tomorrow night. Their running game isn't much to speak of. No disrespect to Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. They just don't run the football very well. And their offensive line really is not great in terms of them running the football. So what do you want to do if you're Washington? I think you want to stay, in as much spread as possible. Cliff Kingsbury is going to give Jaden Daniels some opportunities to obviously use his legs as well, because that probably is the best part of Washington's run game, is him using his legs. I think that's the only chance Washington has, is if they can go score for score with Detroit. That's their only chance. That said, they cannot go score for score with this Detroit Lions team. Their Washington defense has played better, particularly late in the season, but this is a different animal. This is a different monster. Detroit, they're going to be fired up. Obviously, they've been off for 2 weeks as the number 1 seed. They get David Montgomery back. Going to be a big help. And the big thing for Detroit is stay on balance, stay on time, and their offense has to protect their defense. They cannot have the crazy turnovers. They can't do any of that stuff. Protect their defense. I think they will do it. So I'm going to take Detroit at home by 9. But I do think Washington can make it interesting. I just don't think defensively they're good enough to keep up with that Detroit offense.
See, for me, I'm looking at this, though. With the Lions getting back Montgomery, that is big. Because the Lions can go score for score. But the Lions do not need to get in the shootout with this team. Don't do it. Or don't do it their way. Don't be trying to have an air raid shootout, because if you give this team a glimmer of hope, you'll know what can happen. With David Montgomery, Gibbs being back, you can go for score, have a shootout, but you're going to use those backs, because now you're going to dominate time possession. And also, I want to see Jared Goff throwing 40 passes this game. Jared Goff don't need to throw 40 passes to win this game. So if you put yourself in a position where you in a shootout, Jared Goff throwing 40-plus passes against the Commanders team, you giving this young team a simmer of hope, and you could possibly lose because they got explosive players, and Scary Terry is always down to make a play when he needs to make a play. But even though Washington Commanders playing with house money, they overachieved this season. This is a successful season. This where the experience is going to come into play. The Detroit Lions going to be at home. Like you said, with both the running backs back, I believe they're going to dominate both sides of the ball against this Washington Commanders team, mainly offensively, if they do their thing with the two-punch combination with Montgomery and Gibbs. I think they should win this game easily. But I just don't think the Lions need to come in this game and play with their food, because they will lose. They could possibly lose. But I'm definitely taking the Lions also.
And I will say, just to add to that point, SB, obviously the one thing, if you're the Lions, can you get enough pressure on Jaden Daniels? I thought the Bucs on Sunday night, albeit in a loss, did a pretty good job early of trying to get Jaden Daniels off of some of his spots, things like that. Their big problem was they couldn't get him on the ground like they wanted to. And also, Scary Terry is legit. Now, again, not the best receiver in this game, but he's legit. You have to really do a good job of keeping track of where he is, because a lot of times when Jaden gets off platform, that's who he's looking for first. They got some other guys that they like, obviously Zach Ertz and others, but they're gonna have to keep track of Scary Terry. Detroit cannot look past this Commanders team at all, and I don't think they will. I don't think Dan Campbell will allow them to do that. So that said, I think it's gonna be a closer game. But if it's a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, I think it can shift either way, and that's gonna be interesting to see.
Now we got the next round. Who was an upsetter alert? The Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams are here when they upset the Minnesota Vikings, embarrassed the Minnesota Vikings at that. As I said, Dan Campbell, you got to be careful. You curse somebody. Who you got in this game? It's because this is gonna be kind of shaky, because LA Rams ain't no pushover. This is the championship coach team. People forget that. In the championship, starting quarterback. So people forget that. Playoffs is a different breed. I'm getting. I know we're talking about the Heat earlier. I'm getting a little Miami Heat vibe from these Jimmy Butler run vibe with these guys, man.
So I'll say this. Certainly, there are a lot of people who think this could be a potential upset game. Obviously, I expect one road team to win this weekend. These teams played on Sunday Night Football in the middle of the season. Saquon dominated. He had 255 in that game. The Eagles' offensive line completely dominated. This Rams defense is playing better. They obviously played really well on Monday night, forcing Sam Darnold into 9 sacks and to some costly mistakes and things. That said, this Eagles offense is not Minnesota. We know it starts with their offensive line and their ability to control the line of scrimmage. I expect them to come out and try to keep Saquon in check. And this is where A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Ray, when you're going to see how these Eagles win one-on-one outside. I think they're going to be too much for the Rams. Conversely, I expect, even without Nakobe Dean, that the Eagles defense will be very much locked in on trying to slow down Kyron Williams, because people talk about Matt Stafford, but that offense starts with that run game and Kyron Williams. A lot of the stuff that they want to do comes off of run action in particular. So I would expect that they'll the Eagles and Vic Fangio will be locked in on that. And the matchup to watch, those Rams receivers, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Demarcus Robinson against those Eagles corners and Slay, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean. I would think Vic Fangio will probably have them playing a lot of man coverage to allow Reed Blankenship and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to kind of come down and help in some other areas. Can the Rams, and you mentioned Travis Kelce earlier. This is a Tyler Higbee game for me. I think he has to have a big game for the Rams to have a chance, but it won't be enough. I'm taking the Eagles at home, and I'm taking the Eagles at home by 10.
Shout out CA3. CA3 brought up a point I was going to bring up, because I want to know what that weather is going to be like in Philly during that time, because definitely Stafford, I'm worried about Stafford struggling in those conditions. Shout out CA3 too, by the way, too. He said Kyron Williams is from NFLU. Got to respect it. Yes.
Notre Dame fans just getting out.
Hey, look, Notre Dame up right now. Shout out CA3. Yeah. I think CA3 should almost be done. Get ready to graduate for Notre Dame, man. So shout out CA3, brother. I'm proud of you. But yeah, for me though, the big thing is one of the conditions on the Rams side, because Stafford has shown that he has struggled with them. For the Rams to win, I think they need to do the same thing they did a little bit, which I know a lot of people go hear me say this and think this sound outlandish when I say this. You got to attack the offensive line, try to get to Jalen Hurts and stop Saquon. And tell the Eagles, you know what? If you're going to beat me, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith got to beat me. Saquon not going to do it. And I know a lot of people going to say, what? You going to take that? Look, all this year, Saquon and that line has been carrying this team. If I'm the Rams, I know it sounds blasphemous to say, but if I'm the Rams, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith is going to have to beat me, and Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw it on the money every time, because we come in at the quarterback and we stack in that box. Saquon Barkley is not going to have a good game. I'm gonna treat this game like he going for the record. I'm trying to keep Saquon under 100 yards. Oh, I'll keep him under 100 yards if I'm the Rams. Eagles, for them, they got to find a way to get Saquon Barkley going, because they're going to attack Saquon Barkley, and you just got to protect Jalen Hurts. You cannot give up 9 sacks. So this team going to come in for the rush. I'm going to take the Eagles only because this is my game. I'm looking at like this could be an upset alert game. I'm not going to lie. I'm taking the Eagles only as my heart is a fan, because I want to see the Eagles versus the Lions in the NFC Championship game. I got to see it. Last game, what do you say? Appreciate it, and I'm on my way to Atlanta for a game. Okay. CA3 out there. Wait, is it a Notre Dame game? CA3? Is they playing that?
No, the national championship game Monday night. Notre Dame and Ohio State. Yeah.
All right, but is it in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Look, he going there. Watch, he ready. Last game on the list before we get up out of here. Bills versus Baltimore Ravens. The battle of the MVP. Sean, who you got?
So can I say I don't think this game is going to come down to the supposed front runners for the MVP.
Oh, yeah. Well, can I ask the question I said I was going to ask you?
Yes.
I got to ask you before you. So, Sean, do you believe that the outcome of this game will make people regret who they pick for the MVP?
Not at all. Not at all.
Why?
Can I say this really quickly, SB, just real quick? I know we're coming up on time. We got to stop this narrative as analysis.
Okay.
What I mean by narrative as analysis is I think most people would agree that the 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL play in the AFC. Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Allen. Put them in any order you want, but I think most people would agree the 4 best quarterbacks play in the AFC.
Agreed.
If the 4 best quarterbacks play in the same conference, guess what? That means 3 of them every year will not get to the Super Bowl. 2 of them will not get to the AFC Championship game. That's the nature of the beast. So
one of them might miss the playoffs,
and one of them might did miss the playoffs.
Shout out to Beacons. I'm sorry about that.
Yes. So my point is we've got to stop this. This is one game, Buffalo versus Baltimore. And I know everybody's going to look at Lamar and Josh and yada, 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 blah, 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 rah, rah, rah. No, this game, given the weather, given the conditions, is not going to likely come down to these 2 guys. It's going to come down to Baltimore's ability to run the football, Buffalo's ability to run the football, and defensively, schematically, Baltimore is better built to win this game defensively than Buffalo, because Buffalo wants to play. Buffalo's defensive scheme, essentially, they want to play shell, right? They want to rush 4. They want to rush 4, and they want to drop 7 and play shell coverage. Well, that's great if teams are taking a bunch of shots over the top because you don't want to give it the big play. The problem is King Henry can get you a big shot getting the ball in the backfield and taking the ball 85, 90 yards anytime he touches the football. So that I don't think is necessarily going to work in this game. They're going to have to – are the quarterbacks not going to have to make some plays? Sure, they are. But this game is going to be more about the trenches, ability to run the football, clock control. So let's not get into the whole this game is going to be an MVP and narrative. Shut up. That's not – the game is played on the field. That's what it's going to come down to. To me, this game is built for Baltimore to win because of Derrick Henry and Lamar's ability to run the football, but also Baltimore defensively. And a lot of people don't know, if you don't know, since like week 11, Baltimore has actually statistically been the top-ranked defense in the NFL. Yes, I know a lot of people don't know that. So, and what they did to Pittsburgh last week, you think they can't do that to Baltimore? Or excuse me, to Buffalo? So I'm saying this game is built for Baltimore to win. So I'm taking the Ravens. This is my road win of the week. Baltimore will win in Buffalo on Sunday night.
Now, Sean, I asked that question because I got Lamar's MVP. But I'll be lying to you. If I ain't nervous, it's HELL with them playing in Buffalo. And I just looked at the weather. It's gonna be about 18 degrees. I don't know that's the only thing that always concerned me about when you go play in Buffalo. I truly believe the Ravens are a better team. I think the Ravens should come and dominate, but you always got to acknowledge the fact that playing in Buffalo is not the same as playing in Baltimore. So I'm nervous, Sean. I am nervous. I'm really nervous about them playing in Buffalo.
I would say this, SB. I don't know if you've watched the in-season Hard Knocks, the AFC North in-season Hard Knocks. Actually, very entertaining Hard Knocks, better than the training camp Hard Knocks to me. Okay. But one of the things that they talked about was Lamar, and this season in particular, him stepping up his leadership. And John Harbaugh talked about that. As they were getting ready for some games that they were late in the season, and even this last playoff game, that they didn't want to practice inside. They wanted to be outside. They wanted to own the elements. So when I see that kind of stuff, that tells me that going to Buffalo does not bother them at all. Certainly, you'd rather play in front of your home fans, but this Ravens team with this level of leadership, they don't care about that. They care about what's it going to take for us to win the game. I think Buffalo's only shot to win this game is to be super aggressive and to keep Lamar and that offense on the sideline. So you can expect to see them probably go for it in some fourth down situations, depending on where they are in field position. But I just think this game is built perfectly for Baltimore to win.
I'm going to take Baltimore too, but I ain't going to lie to you and say I ain't nervous. Last thing before we get up out of here, Sean, how many rushing touchdowns are going to see from the quarterback? in this game because Josh Allen, Lamar definitely gonna run it.
I'm gonna say 2.
2. Yeah, all right, add it on there, y'all. All right, guys, we gonna wait and see how it goes. We definitely gonna have this recap on Monday. Sean, episode 35. Who you got for that?
Episode 35. I'm gonna say Mike Mussina.
Mike Mussina, okay.
Mike Mussina. Obviously, Slim Reaper.
Slim Reaper. I like the Slim Reaper pick. For me. Look down list. I was definitely going Slim Reaper for sure. Slim Reaper for sure. Who else should I go?
I'll throw another one out there, even though it was very brief. Earl Campbell, when he played in New Orleans, he wore 35.
Wait, is this who I think it is? Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, for the shout Coach out. I didn't know he would. This is before my time. I just seen him. I didn't know who he was looking at the young picture of him. But I'm gonna go KD and I'm gonna go shout out Paul Silas. I see you, Paul Silas. Shout out Paul.
The late great Paul Silas.
Yes. Late RP. I seen the young picture. I'm like, man, this look like, I'm like, it's St. Paul Silas. Like, is this the same Paul Silas? I'm used to seeing, coach mode. I ain't used to seeing him as a young player.
Yes.
But yeah, appreciate you guys. It's been another great episode of Real Takes Over Fake Debates with SB and Sean Webb. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys share, make sure you guys subscribe. Join and listen to us on every platform, YouTube, TikTok, short the Instagram. Make sure you guys download on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia. And we will see you guys on the next episode. And we are out of here. Peace. This is going to be a long day for the playoffs, man. We're going to see. I can't wait. It's going to be good tomorrow.